Hello and welcome back, friends. Now, in the last video we explored multiple criteria using the AND formula, but of course sometimes it might be the case that you only want to check whether one condition is true. So what I'm referring to here is the OR criteria. And of course this can also be evaluated in Power BI with the calculate function. So let's do that. Let's actually right click on the sales table to create the measure, go to new measure here, and then let's actually do that in here. Just a second, there's the measure. So let's increase the size here a little bit, and there's the measure. And let's say calculate, and now, or we named it sales between 15 and 25. In this case, let's say, sales below 15 or above, let's call this, or above 25. And of course, as I always say, come up with better names than I do here, okay? It's just really for demonstration purposes here. So let's actually go to a new line, and then let's say, okay, here I'd like to calculate, use the calculate function again, and now we want to evaluate an expression. So in our case, the expression will be total sales. So I need to spell it correctly, of course. So total sales, here we go. And now I need to give it a filter. And remember from the first videos which you've seen, that as a filter, we could now use either the filter function, which would be the longer way to do it, but you can use it, right? Or we do it as a shortcut using the Boolean expression, so true or false, like we've done in the last video with the sales as well. So we can simply type in sales, in this case from the sales table, the sales amount, and this one would be, in this case, less or equal to 15. And for the OR criteria, as we've seen, for the AND would be double ampersand. For the OR criteria, on the other hand, it would be the double pipe symbol. So you type in a pipe and then a second pipe. This would be OR in Power BI. And then you say sales table, and again referring to the sales column from the sales table, and this should be greater or equal to 25. Okay, 25 like that. And then I close the parenthesis here, and we are good to go. So you see that here we do the same for the OR criteria, like we did for the AND criteria, we just use the double pipe symbol instead. And as I said, this is a Boolean expression, right, which we give it here. So the sales table should be either less or equal to 15, or it should be greater or equal to 25. And the same could be done using the filter function, but it would be a little bit longer, right? Because we would say filter all the sales table and then do the criteria we have here. Instead of that, we can use the shortcut, simply typing it like that in here. Okay, so let's actually evaluate that. So I press enter, and here we go, we got our measure. And if we tick this, just go again in our table here, make this bigger, and then evaluate what we've done here. So sales 15, below 15 or above. So tick this option here, and then we can see we got a different result here. We got 40, 30, 25, and 15. So let's actually have a little quick check here. If we go inside, and we need to first select the correct table, the sales table, and then we remove the filter which we have applied for checking the AND criteria. So let's actually clear the filter, and now let's apply a new filter here and go to number filters, and let's say here there's a between option. Let's take this between and say is greater or equal. In this case, let's start actually with is less than or equal, and then we specify 15. That's what we had. So 15, not 16. 15, here we go. And this time we specify instead of AND, we're using OR criteria. And then we say is greater than or equal to, and let's say here 25. So far so good. We can take the filter is applied, and now we can see what we get here. For instance, for product number 4, we got 15 plus 10, which is 25. And for product 2, which is Red Bull, remember, we only got 30 here, because 30 is greater than 25. The 20 value, which we normally also have, is not. That's why it's filtered out. And then we can also see the data for the other ones. But let's stick maybe for the product ID number 4, which is 25, and product ID number 2, which is Red Bull, which is 30. And let's just check. Product ID number 4, which is 25, could be Monster, but I'm not sure. So I go to my, in this case, product table here and say, oh, it's not Monster, sorry, it's Relentless, the 4. Okay, Relentless should be 25. So let's check that. Go to our view again, and we can see that Relentless here indeed is 25, and Red Bull here, this one, is 30. So the filter gets applied correctly, and we can see the results in here. And just for completion purposes here, of course, we can also do it in a different way using the OR formula. like we have seen with the AND formula, there's also an OR formula. So let's do that quickly, just to complete it. So let's go with our sales below 15 or above 25, this one here. Let's copy this, Control C to copy it. Let's right click on the sales table here, go to the new measure, and just paste this inside. And as I said, you can also rewrite it if you want. I just want to be a little bit faster here, and I don't want to bore you, of course. That is why I simply copy this formula for now. So let's say here again, version 2, just to be consistent here, version 2, and then say calculate the total sales. And instead of using the double pipe symbol here, I will remove this and put in a comma in here. And then I will wrap all these things here in the OR formula. So OR, and then we have a logical test, same as we've seen with the AND, but this time only one of the conditions needs to be true, okay? So basically returns true if any of the arguments is true, exactly like that. So then let me actually close the OR and as well as close the calculate function. So remember, you need a second parenthesis here. And Power BI is here really helpful because it also highlights here what's the closing parenthesis for the opening one. So let's press enter just to evaluate that, and we can see the measures there for us. So we can tick the option here and let's have a look at the measure. And the table is already too big, so let me actually maybe remove the AND criteria here and this one here as well. But we can see here for the OR criteria, we get exactly the same result. So it doesn't matter whether you use the pipe symbol or you specify it with the OR criteria, you get exactly the same result. So it's your personal preference how you want to do that. If you need an OR criteria to filter based on multiple criteria with the calculate function. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you understood what we did. In case you got questions, as always, feel free to ask them. And otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.